Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my Convo 360. Just enjoying that jazz right there as we introduce our first time together, which we'll be talking about an amazing topic that I believe that so many people have gone through, have had issues with, and they're really trying to get better in life. And so it's my goal as relates to this show, as far as my Convo 360, is to be your life coach, is to be a person that can come alongside you and help you get better. And so we're going to cover a good amount of content today. It's going to be an introduction into this idea of procrastination. And then on part 2, we're going to dive even deeper and talk about 6 different ways people find themselves in this issue of procrastination. And so today I want to talk about some practical things, some practical things that can help us get unstuck, that will allow us to move forward, to help us to become better. So come along on the journey with me as we talk about procrastination with my Convo 360. So first off, I want to submit some thoughts to you. Number one thought will be this. I believe personally that one of the greatest issues we have when it comes to procrastination is because we have convinced ourselves that we have tomorrow. We've convinced ourselves that we will get another chance at some point. And I think that's the greatest act of pride that we as individuals can ever have, because we are assuming that tomorrow is going to come. We're assuming that another opportunity is going to come. We're assuming that what just came in front of us, this job, this business, whatever it may be, relationship, we are assuming with pride that we are going to get a second chance. I believe that procrastination is really nothing more than a person saying it's not important. It may not be important right now. It may not be important tomorrow. I procrastinate because I believe I will always have the opportunity to come back and try again. So let me give you a few thoughts as it relates to procrastination. One of them, I believe that many people will procrastinate because they may have a sense of perfectionism in what they do. So in versus just jumping in and doing it and going after it and just taking whatever lumps come with it, they want to make sure everything is perfect. Does that sound like you? Are you a person that feels as though if everything is not in order, if I can't control every moving piece, then I'm not going to start yet? Many times we procrastinate because we don't want to start until everything is perfect. And I believe that may be a reason why many dreams you have, many ideas you have, or many goals you have, you may not have acted upon yet because you're waiting for everything to be perfect. I want to give you this thought. It will never be perfect. Everything will never align perfectly. There'll always be lumps. There'll always be bumps. Something will always go wrong. So don't let the fear of things going wrong or things not being perfect cause you not to go after it. We're talking about procrastination. Number 2, and I'm going to add just a little slide here for you to get some thoughts as it relates to how we sometimes look in procrastination. Sometimes we sleep too much. Sometimes we worry too much. Sometimes we're so frustrated and confused. Sometimes we're afraid of failure. And so one thing I want to give you is we must address our fears of failure, and we must address our fears of success. Sometimes we will not go after that dream and we will procrastinate because what if it doesn't work out? What if I start telling friends and family that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and what if it falls apart? I want to help you today. So what? So what if it doesn't work? So what if the business doesn't work? So what if you don't get the promotion? So what if things don't go according to plan? I can guarantee you this, you will always lose every opportunity that you don't go after. You will always miss every shot you never shoot. You will always miss every promotion you never throw your name in the hat for. You will always lose the opportunity to date that man, date that woman when you're afraid to approach, afraid to say hello, afraid to introduce yourself. Your failure rate is 100% when you don't try. So I believe that sometimes we gotta take a risk. We gotta take a risk of hearing no. We gotta take a risk of not getting what we want the first time. And that risk can have and pay great dividends if we bet on ourselves. What I wanted you to know this today is that you can bet on yourself. You can make a decision that if I fail, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean I can't try again. Don't procrastinate. Don't put off for tomorrow what you know in your heart you should do today because you're afraid you might fail. Now, a caveat to that is this: the fear of success. What if it does work out? And what if it gets too big? What if it gets too great? What if I can't handle it? What if I'm not smart enough? Or what if I don't have the intuition? Or what if, it gets away from me? I heard it once says this, is that if somebody ever offer you a great opportunity, even if you have no idea what you're doing, take the job and learn how to do it later. And I think that's a great thing to say. Sometimes you're not going to know, no matter how much studying you do, no matter how much work you put in, sometimes you just won't know everything. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing the best job you know how to do, and then whatever lumps and bumps come with it, we can learn from those things as we continue in our vision and continue in our dream. So don't procrastinate because you think I could fail. Don't procrastinate because you think it may succeed, but it may overwhelm me. Take a chance on yourself. Bet on yourself. Most importantly, believe in yourself. I'm going to give you a third thought here. One of the ways in which we can become better when it comes, put my slide back up for you, when it comes to procrastination, and this is the key: create time limits for your goals and for your vision. Whenever you have a vision, whenever you have a goal, you want to create something that we call objectives. You want to have that big idea, that thing you want to go for. And sometimes you're afraid of failure. Sometimes you're afraid of success. Therefore, we procrastinate, like on that screen right there. We may sleep too much. We may worry too much. Whatever, we're afraid to fall, as you can see on the slide there. What we're talking about is we must create, watch this, realistic time frames. Time frames that correspond with our grind. Are you with me? The vision is free. The vision is free. The goal is free. But the grind, you got to pay all by itself. It's a la carte. The grind is a la carte. You got to pay, you got to put the work in, you got to put the time in order to be successful at anything. You can't reap what you don't sow. You can't have a harvest when you haven't plowed the ground. You cannot go gather where you have not sown at. So you got to put in the work. So how do I do that? I create time limits. I create objectives. The objectives are bite-sized pieces that if I start completing these objectives, the big pie called the goal, every objective I complete pushes me closer to the goal. Now, here's a few thoughts here. Sometimes when you're doing your objectives, you will find that these objectives are not getting me closer to my goal. Here it is. There's nothing wrong with changing your objectives. Just keep your goal. Your goal doesn't change. The vision doesn't change. You keep your vision and your goal, but sometimes you got to change your objectives because your objectives are not pushing you closer and closer and closer to your goal. And that's okay. Changing an objective doesn't mean you failed. It means you've learned maturity enough to pivot when you realize the objectives are not taking you where you want them to take you. So what do? You create time limits specific for every objective. If it's to make a phone call, I'm making 5 phone calls today. I'm going to do 3 house calls today. I'm going to go create the website. I'm going to go create the domain name. I'm going to go get the EIN number. You got to create some objectives and then make them specific. By Wednesday, these 5 things are going to be done. By Thursday, these 8 things are going to be done. By Friday, these 10 things are going to be done. Hold yourself accountable. Why? Because you believe in yourself. You believe in your vision. You believe in your goal. You believe that you can be better. Don't let anybody tell you, hey, you're enough just the way you are. If You are not okay with the way that you currently are. Now, it's okay to say I'm enough. It's okay to say I'm good enough. All of that is great, but don't let someone deceive you and say, hey, you're great just the way you are. You're good just the way you are. If in fact you don't like where you currently are. It's not about what other people think about you. It's not about if they're comfortable with where you are in life. The real question is, are you comfortable with where you are in life? And if you're not, you have the power to change it. And how do you do that? Number one, stop trying to be perfect. Number two, address the ideas of failure and success. You may fail. So what? It don't mean you're a failure. You may succeed. Yes, that's awesome. It doesn't mean it's going to overwhelm you. And even if it does, you can always get help. Thirdly, create time limits, specific times and dates that things have to get done, and then remove the distractions. Get it done. No excuses, get it done. Number four, break goals down into specific and measurable and achievable and realistic time limited chunks. I'll say it again. Break down your goals into specific, measurable, achievable, realistic things that you can handle in small chunk size pieces. So now you have all of this vision. You have all of the things underneath to learn how to do it step by step by step. But what do? Make it as realistic as possible. Make it as achievable as possible. More importantly, make it as specific as possible. Why is that? Because you can't measure what you can't see. You can't measure what you're not running after. You cannot measure what you don't pay attention to. So you have to make it specific enough where it holds you accountable. That way you can measure whether or not I'm succeeding, whether or not I'm getting better. You got to put aside time in the morning, in the night, lunchtime, whatever it might be. Why? To work at these goals. Now, number 5, do whatever it is for 15 minutes to help you get started per day. I don't know where to begin, Coach Kenyon. I have no idea. It's so massive. It's so vast. Okay, that's fine. Let's shrink it a little bit. Let's knock it down to 10 or 15 minutes a day where you are putting some time and some effort into that goal, into that dream, into that next step phase of your life. Break it down into 10, 15 minutes a day. Journal out what their goals, objectives, bite-sized pieces, specific, measurable, achievable. Write down something so you can see the vision. Make it plain so now you can build this thing and then put some weight on it. Through action. Explosive, immediate action. We can't just talk about it. We actually have to be about it. Now, next, you also have to create consequences for yourself whenever you do not complete a task. Remove something that you really like to do. Don't let yourself do whatever you want to do without consequences. Why is that? Because without consequence, we're nothing more than looking at a dog without teeth. It's all bark and no bite. You got to hold yourself accountable. And if you can't hold yourself accountable, get an accountability partner. Someone to check in and say, hey, did you read that book? Hey, did you make those calls? Hey, did you write that vision down, those goals down? Did you build that business plan out? Did you go and network? Did you call around? Are you holding yourself accountable? And if not, what do? You must now go and recruit people that love you enough to have the hard conversation. The ones that will tell you you're lazy, you're not doing enough. Hey, what are you doing? You're wasting time. You're doing what? You're procrastinating, and you got to get in the game. Get people around you, here it is, that's doing more than what you're doing. Why is that? Because you become who you hang around. Hang around people full of vision. Hang around people that have a plan, that are working hard, that are diligent, that are accomplishing goals. And what is it going to do? It'll begin to rub off on you. It'll make you want to do better. So what do? Take 10, 15 minutes a day and carve that out. Protect that time. Why? You are investing in your future. These 10 or 15 minutes isn't a waste of your time. This 10 or 15 minutes is actually preparation time for your future, for your goals. Here it is, for the rest of your life. So what do you look like? It can be practical. That 10 or 15 minutes may be for your marriage. That 10 or 15 minutes may be about your children. That 10 or 15 minutes may be about a business, your job. It may be for friendships. It may be for a trade you want to go into or education you want to pursue. Whatever those 10 or 15 minutes are, sit down, write the vision, make it plain, make it achievable, measurable, make it specific. Why? Now I can create an action plan. What am I going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Now you're in the game. Now you're fighting for yourself. Now you're no longer pitying yourself. Woe is me. Oh, nobody cares. No one loves me. No, none of that matters. Love yourself. Fight for yourself. Get in the game. Now, many people think, and this is the big one, that they're great at everything. They're not. Many people try to be they try to be masters of everything, and they literally become masters of nothing, okay? It's better to measure 100 times and cut once than to measure once and cut 100 times. So the goal is to where you put the time in, and how you do that is stop trying to multitask 100 things at one time as though you have learned or I have learned to conquer the world all by ourselves. No, sometimes, and this is another one here, shorten your to-do list. If you write down the 10 most important things you must accomplish today, and then look at that 10 and say, if I could only accomplish 5, what 5 would I remove? And then once you get those 5, then say, if I could only accomplish 2 out of the 5, what 3 would I remove? And what 2 out of the 10 and 5 are the most important things I must accomplish? And then focus on those 2 things. What did you just do? You shortened your to-do list, and you have now streamlined your focus, your resources, your attention, your potential, your intellectual strength into something that's specific versus so broad you can't measure it. Something that's so broad is not specific. Something that's so broad you can't even tell if you've succeeded or not. So you shorten your to-do list based upon importance. 10 down to 5, 5 down to 2, 2 you execute. What happened? Monday you executed 2 things, Tuesday 2 things, Wednesday 3 things, from Thursday 2 things, Friday 2 things. What happened? In the course of 5 days, you've accomplished 10 things that you mentioned on day 1, but because you made it small, specific, achievable, and measurable, you broke it down to 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 versus 10 all in one day. So 2 things a day over 5 days accomplished all 10 things you set out to do. But what happened? You broke the 10 things down to bite-sized pieces. Ergo, now 5 days have gone by and you have success. It's measurable, it's achievable, it was realistic, and now you can celebrate the victory of the original 10 things you set out to do. But what did you do? You organized your life. You wrote down that 10, 15 minutes per day, how you're going to do massive execution on those goals. And that's exactly what happened to you. Really quickly, and we're almost done. We have to learn how to leverage the time that we know we are at our optimal energy. Some people are not morning people. Me, I pop up like, bam, I'm ready to go. I'm not procrastinating. I want to get out and hit the world. Some people, you like to sleep in. You're more of a night owl. You got to know when you're at your best. And what do? You capitalize on that time. So find your sweet spot. What time of the day or whatever it might be is your optimal time where you're most effective. And then take that time and build your life. Next up, you must be accountable. Tell someone you trust, not anybody, because a lot of people are haters and they don't want to see you succeed, or they don't mind if you succeed as long as your success does not go beyond theirs. So find someone that's willing to be your cheerleader. Find someone that believes in you, that will rejoice with you, and be accountable. Be specific. Tell them, these are my dreams and my goals. This is what I'm holding myself accountable to. And then ask them, will you help me be accountable? Why? We don't want to fall into what we mentioned a minute ago, which is what? Procrastination. We don't want to fall into that. We don't want to fall into believing we're going to have tomorrow what we should do today. Lastly is this. I'm going to do 2 more and then we'll stop. Increase our tolerance for distractions and increase our gratitude for every good thing that's happened in our life. Many times we allow the simplest things to distract us. A phone ring, we just lost focus. Knock at the door, we've lost focus. Somebody walk in a room, we've lost focus. We have to build our ability to withstand these distractions that can come from anywhere. Then on the backside of that is this: learn how to be grateful for what you currently have. The way in which I can help beat procrastination is to understand that I'm not a complete failure. There are some good things that have already happened in my life, and that can fuel more good things happening in my life. And lastly, with this one right here, make a list of things that drain your time. Make a list of things, whether it's social media, whether it's television, whether it's somebody wanting to go hang out, someone wanting to go out to whatever you may go, someone that is, or something that is pulling your attention away from you becoming the best version of yourself. Why? It's going to cause us to lean back on this thing called procrastination. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week, because we're allowing things to come in and drain time that are not the most valuable, that are not the most important. Here it is, that are not the priority. So don't allow anything to come into your life that is not the priority, because it will literally drain your time. So I hope that listening to today's time together, the time we've spent talking about procrastination, I really do hope that it has inspired you to want to change, to increase, to grow, because I know there is greatness on the inside of you. And I'm telling you, we're going to come back in part 2 and talk about 6 different ways in which, on the deep end, we're going to go way deeper, going to the psychology of it, the mind of it, finding out why do I procrastinate? What triggers this procrastination? How has my upbringing, how has my past, how has the cultures of the homes I grew up in, the relationships I've had, how do these things, how do they feed into my procrastination? Hey, I'm Kenyon Healey. I'm your life coach. I'm here to make you better. I'm here to push you. I'm here to remind you that you are great and that you are awesome. And more importantly, that you matter and that you're enough. So don't worry. We're coming back part 2, My Convo 360. I'm your host, Kenyon Healey. On our YouTube page, subscribe, share this channel. I believe so many lives can be impacted. We're just getting started. We have thousands of topics to discuss. We have so much growing to do. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it. And we will see you soon on My Convo 360. Again, on YouTube, subscribe, and share. We'll see you soon.